Hello there, bros and hoes. This is Mark, and you're very welcome to Marky's Herps. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my latest acquisition, Katheryn. Videos and pictures up in the corner here. Make sure you leave a like for that little touch of class, that little picture-in-picture feature that I run. I do actually genuinely enjoy editing, so it's a win-win for you guys and me. Anyway, to the meat and potatoes. Katheryn is a female Great Basin gopher snake, probably late 2K13. Like Brazen, I in fact would postulate that she is a clutch mate of Brazen. But alas, that wouldn't really bother me breeding them. They might be clutch mates, they might be brother and sister in other words. But if I believe in a year's time, come the next breeding season, that the genes are good enough, that they're very healthy animals, I might chance a breeding, and it'll teach me how to incubate. It'll teach me about the viability of the animals, the health of them, etc., etc. But I don't take the responsibility lightly. If I do breed them, it will be done correctly. As I have done everything correctly thus far. I feed them correctly, maintain schedules and stuff like that. I spot clean religiously. I change water religiously. My animals are very well looked after. I take pride in the fact that I am able to take care of them well. So if they are ready in a year, I will breed them. If not, I won't. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, if they're not even big enough to brumate, I won't brumate them. I might turn off the heat and slow down feeding, but to be honest with you, I don't know if I could get my room cold enough to brumate, but that's another day in the garden. Katheryn's disposition is nervous. She is a very shy snake, but what I found with gopher snakes is you drop their nervous levels down in chunk steps, in indefinite tiers. They're tiered snakes when it comes to nervous behaviour. What do I mean by this? Well, with Brazen, it went from hiss and tail rattle down to sitting kind of still in the hand but poking around a little bit curiously, and then to kind of nervous exploration. I found sharp movements would frighten him. He's very quick to react. Their reflexes are a lot sharper than my corn snakes. So, or any corn snake I've seen for that matter. So that's why I often say I regard them as a more intelligent snake. They just seem to have a little bit more going on upstairs. Then he eventually got down to the level where he potters around nicely, slowly enough. He's not a manic gopher snake or colubrid. He doesn't get in your hands and immediately want to go everywhere else but your hands. He is relatively placid in his movements, and that's because I generally do things very patiently, and I take pride in that fact. Katheryn seems to be quite hissy and tail rattly. At the start she was quite tail rattly and hissy, and then dropped down to being almost what I'd call scared stiff. She is relaxed so that she's not tail rattling or hissing, but she's too nervous to be inquisitive. She is too nervous to be inquisitive. That's a perfect summary of her demeanor at the moment. What I generally do is I pick her up and she just sits still in the hand. Now, will that change? I'm sure it will. But to be fully honest with you guys, I'm a realist. I keep these Pituophis species because I actually just love them. I enjoy their defensive behaviours. I've researched their behaviours and their evolution and stuff like that, and where they come from. So just keeping the animals is enough for me. As I often say, a great pet and a great snake aren't really the same thing. They're not synonymous with each other. a snake can be a great snake, but it could be an awful pet. But if I'm able to just pick them up out of their vives without incident, do what I have to do in their vives, be it change water, spot clean or feed, and put them back, I am a happy camper. I will enjoy that animal regardless of whether or not I can pick it up and be all doty over it. Although it is always a nice bonus, and it's a nice bonus as well to know that you've tamed out that snake. She hasn't shed with me yet. I'm teaching her how to drink from the water bottle. She took a few cautious drops from it. I actually have one of these water bottles that Viper Keeper uses. Not the exact brand, but it's an eBay cheapskate copy. But I find Brazen actually drinks from it. Brazen's actually getting the hang of it. Eden doesn't take water from it at all. She finds it a big annoyance. And Katheryn is starting to take a few cautious drops from it. So that's something that you can glean a little bit of information from, I suppose. I've never seen the gopher snakes drink from their bowls, but I provide them nevertheless. She's on newspaper at the moment. I have 2 hides in there, a little bit of cork bark. She's eating fuzzy mice, and I'm feeding her nearly every 5th day. She is a skinny snake. She's underweight. There's no two ways about it. There's no polite way of cutting it, and it's no disrespect to the place that I got her from. It's just the fact that, like, pet stores and stuff, they like to long tail animals with regards to feeding, or they like to put them all on the same day of feeding. So, like, say a pet store has a rack full of colubrids, they're going to feed every week on a Wednesday, let's say. For convenience sake, they'll put out X amount of mice and they'll feed bam 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 bam, and that's them done for a week. Whereas with Brazen, I've been feeding him generously, and that can be seen in his overall condition. But with Katheryn, you know, the scales aren't as shiny, there's not as much muscle there. The way I find the way I find it convenient to determine whether or not a snake is slightly underfed is the back half. If the back half and the tail kind of looks skimpy, it's bad out. It's bad form. But you know, she's on the road to becoming a nice stout snake. I might keep feeding her every 5th day until she gets a little bit of weight on her. I don't want necessarily length size, just girth size. I want a little bit more on her. And it's hard, to be honest. It's hard to refrain from feeding her more, because I want her to be healthy and good. But obviously, healthy for a snake means spacing out your feedings. I mean, I've heard of people killing their snakes because they've fed them too much. So I'm not going to do that by any stretch, but I'm going to feed her the same way that I fed Idun. And that's why actually it's crucial to keep records, and I'll do a video on that. I flick back through my calendar. Simple thing. Flick back through my calendar to January when I bought Idun. And I fed her, say, on a Monday, and then I let Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'd Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'd feed on the Friday. So every 5th, 4th day kind of thing. Something like that. But anyway, you know, I mentioned a lot of stuff there that will gain their own videos over time, so stay tuned for those. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button for me. It helps tremendously. I really want to get this channel off the ground. It's me, your boy Big D. Stay tuned. Marky's Herps. Take her handy if you have her handy, lads. Make sure and take her twice, hey. Good luck.